Every day, your mind races. Thoughts come faster than you can catch them. You worry about the past, stress about the future, and often forget to live in the present moment. This is the nature of overthinking. But you are not your thoughts. You are the one who watches them. Every day your mind produces thousands of thoughts. Some are useful, many are not. Most of these thoughts come without your permission. They appear like strangers entering a room, demanding attention, pulling you in different directions. Overthinking is simply allowing these thoughts to dominate your awareness. The first step to stopping overthinking is to understand that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts, the silent presence behind them. The mind may chatter endlessly, but the part of you that notices this chatter is calm, steady, and untouched. By recognizing that your thoughts are not who you are, you create space between yourself and the noise in your head. This space is freedom. When a thought arises that worries you about the past, pause. Notice it. Label it. This is a thought about what has already happened. You cannot change the past, no matter how much you replay it in your mind. Seeing it clearly as a thought and not reality weakens its power over you. Similarly, when your mind projects fears into the future, acknowledge them. Say silently, this is a thought about what might happen. The future has not yet arrived, and it may never happen as you imagine it. By observing your thoughts without judgment, without immediately reacting, you begin to weaken the habit of overthinking. Observation requires practice. Start small. Take moments in your day to sit quietly and simply notice what is happening in your mind. Don't try to fix anything. Don't try to analyze or solve problems. Just watch. Thoughts will come and go like clouds drifting across the sky. Some will linger. Some will disappear quickly. Some may be strong and vivid, others weak and fleeting. Whatever the nature of the thought, do not cling to it. You are not here to capture each thought or hold on to it. You are here to observe it, acknowledge its presence, and allow it to pass. Your emotions are closely tied to your thoughts. When you identify with a troubling thought, you give it power over your feelings. Anxiety, anger, and stress grow when you fuse yourself with mental noise. By observing your thoughts without attachment, you prevent them from controlling your emotional state. You begin to see that while thoughts may rise, they do not have to dictate your peace. The mind is a tool, not a master. When you step back and watch the flow of your thinking, you reclaim control over your inner world. Another aspect of observing your thoughts is noticing patterns. Over time, you will see recurring themes, worries, and fears. Recognizing these patterns allows you to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. When a familiar worry arises, remind yourself that this is a repeating thought, not a reality you must obey. Awareness gives you choice. You may choose to engage with some thoughts productively, take action when necessary, or let them drift away when they serve no purpose. Observation also teaches patience. The mind is not quiet instantly. Thoughts will continue to come, and some days the chatter may be louder than others. Accept this without judgment. Each moment of awareness, each pause to observe your mind, is a victory. You are training your attention, strengthening your ability to remain calm amid mental turbulence. Over time, observing your thoughts becomes natural. You learn to create distance between your mind's activity and your inner self. And in this distance lies clarity, control, and peace. The mind often races because the body is restless. When you feel anxious, overwhelmed, or caught in endless thought loops, the first step to calming your mind is to slow down your breath. Breathing is simple, yet most people ignore its power. Your thoughts follow your body and your body follows your mind, but breathing is the bridge between the two. When you deliberately slow your breathing, your mind begins to slow as well. A deep, measured breath signals to your nervous system that it is safe to relax. It is a tool available to you at any moment, in any place, and it can immediately bring clarity to chaos. Start by paying attention to your inhalation. Most people breathe shallowly, letting their lungs only fill partially. This shallow breathing keeps the body in a state of tension and keeps the mind restless. By taking a deep breath that expands the chest and the belly, you engage the diaphragm fully. Feel the air moving slowly in, filling the lower lungs first, then the upper. Hold for a brief moment, allowing the oxygen to circulate. Then release gently, noticing the sense of release in your body. Each slow exhale is a signal to the mind to quiet down, to let go of unnecessary worry and mental noise. Breathing slowly is also a reminder of the present moment. Overthinking occurs when the mind drifts to the past or the future. Focusing on the rhythm of your breath draws your attention to the now. Count your breaths if it helps. Inhale 2, 3, hold 2, 3, exhale 2, 3. The count is not important, but the focus is. With every breath, the mind follows the body's pace. Thoughts that once seemed urgent begin to lose their intensity. Mental chaos diminishes when the body signals safety and calm through deliberate breath. Breathing also cultivates awareness. As you practice, notice how the mind reacts to the slowing of the body. Thoughts may try to pull you back into panic or overthinking, but you have a tool to return to calm. Each inhale brings attention. Each exhale releases tension. Over time, this simple practice trains the mind to respond to stress differently. Instead of immediately reacting to every thought, you create a pause, a space in which wisdom can emerge. This space is where clarity lives, where calmness is born, and where the habit of overthinking begins to weaken. You can also combine breath with posture. Sit or stand tall, shoulders relaxed, chest open. A straight spine allows the lungs to expand fully, making each breath more effective. When the body is aligned, the mind is naturally more alert and clear. Slouching or hunching compresses the lungs, making breathing shallow, which feeds tension and mental restlessness. By aligning the body and breathing with intention, you create a powerful feedback loop. The body calms the mind, and the mind calms the body. Breath is always available, but it requires attention. Many people wait for a crisis, a panic, or a storm of thoughts before they remember to breathe consciously. The practice is most effective when done regularly, even in calm moments, morning, evening, or any pause during the day. These are opportunities to train your mind through the body. Just a few minutes of slow, deep, deliberate breathing is enough to reset your nervous system, slow racing thoughts, and create mental clarity. Breathing slowly also reminds you of control. While you can always control external events or random thoughts, you can control your breath. This is a reminder that control is possible in small, practical ways. Small actions done consistently shape your inner world, teaching your mind that stillness and calm are accessible. The more you practice, the more naturally the mind follows the body's cue, allowing you to remain composed even in challenging circumstances. Overthinking often comes from giving too much power to thoughts that are not under your control. Every day, your mind produces worries, doubts, and what-if scenarios. Many of these thoughts focus on things that are outside your influence, the opinions of others, the outcome of events, or the uncertainty of the future. When you engage with these thoughts, as if they were reality, you trap yourself in a cycle of endless mental activity. The key to breaking this cycle is to question your thoughts and to recognize which ones are yours to act upon, and which are beyond your control. Start by noticing a thought that causes stress or anxiety. Instead of immediately reacting, ask yourself a simple question: can I control this? If the answer is no, then recognize that worrying about it is unnecessary. The energy spent on what is uncontrollable is wasted. You cannot change the past, you cannot fully predict the future, and you cannot dictate the behavior of others. When you accept this truth, a burden is lifted. The mind that understands the limits of its control finds freedom, and overthinking begins to weaken, because it no longer feeds on illusions of influence. When a thought falls within your control, take deliberate action. Focus your energy where it can produce results. For example, if you are worried about completing a task, rather than dwelling on the what-ifs, take the next step that is possible right now. Action is the antidote to mental spinning. By directing attention to what is tangible and actionable, the mind stops generating unnecessary scenarios and begins to focus on solutions. Thoughts become a tool rather than a tyrant. Another practice is to detach from the need for certainty. Many overthinking patterns arise because the mind seeks answers that do not yet exist. You may wonder how something will turn out, what others think, or whether a decision is perfect. Accept that some things cannot be known in advance. Certainty is a luxury of imagination, not reality. By accepting uncertainty, you reduce the mind's habit of generating endless possibilities, and you create space for calm and clarity. Questioning your thoughts also involves examining their validity. Often, overthinking is fueled by assumptions and interpretations rather than facts. Ask yourself, is this true? Do I have evidence? Am I assuming the worst? By separating assumptions from reality, you reduce the power of thoughts to overwhelm you. The mind can then observe objectively rather than reacting emotionally. Each thought becomes something to analyze, not something to obey blindly. You can also use journaling as a tool to question thoughts. Writing down worries allows you to see them clearly and evaluate their importance. Often, seeing thoughts on paper diminishes their intensity. Patterns emerge, and you can decide consciously which thoughts deserve attention and which should be released. This practice strengthens the mind's ability to focus on what is meaningful, rather than being pulled by mental noise. The discipline of questioning thoughts is not about suppressing them or avoiding reality. It is about reclaiming control over attention and energy. Thoughts are inevitable, but the suffering caused by overthinking is optional. By continuously asking which thoughts are yours to act on, which are outside your control, and which are based on assumption rather than fact, you train the mind to respond with clarity instead of panic. Over time, this practice creates resilience. Situations that once triggered anxiety or mental chaos now meet a mind that pauses, observes, and questions before reacting. The overactive mind begins to slow because it recognizes its limits and directs its energy intentionally. Control is no longer an illusion, it becomes a deliberate choice, exercised moment by moment. The habit of overthinking weakens because the mind learns to act wisely, letting go of the thoughts that serve no purpose and focusing only on what is real, actionable, and meaningful. Simplicity is a powerful tool for calming an overactive mind. Many people live surrounded by distractions, clutter, and endless stimulation. The more noise there is in your environment, the louder your mind becomes. Overthinking thrives in chaos. When your surroundings are cluttered, your thoughts mirror that clutter, bouncing from one concern to another without pause. Reducing distractions is not just about physical space, it is about creating mental space, allowing the mind to rest and focus. Simplicity is not a denial of life's challenges, it is a conscious choice to eliminate what is unnecessary, so that what remains can be approached with clarity and calm. Start by examining your daily life. Identify the areas where complexity is unnecessary. This could be your environment, your schedule, or your mental habits. Physical clutter, for example, often contributes to mental clutter. A messy room or workspace constantly signals the mind that there is more to manage. By organizing your surroundings, putting things in order, and keeping only what is useful, you give your mind a visual signal of calm and control. Each item removed is a small victory, each clear surface a moment of mental breathing room. Mental simplicity is just as important. Your mind is often filled with constant planning, imagining, and worrying. Social media, endless notifications, and constant engagement with news or entertainment keep the mind in a state of perpetual motion. Choosing to step back to reduce unnecessary input is a way of reclaiming attention. Limit what you allow into your mind. Not every opinion, story, or message deserves a space in your consciousness. By simplifying what you consume, the mind naturally becomes quieter. Simplicity also applies to your commitments. Overcommitting creates stress and fuels overthinking. When you say yes to everything, your attention is divided, and the mind becomes scattered. By consciously choosing fewer, more meaningful commitments, you allow yourself the mental energy to focus on what truly matters. Each decision to simplify your responsibilities is a step toward a calmer mind and a life of greater purpose. Another aspect of simplicity is prioritizing clarity over complexity in your thoughts and actions. When faced with a problem, resist the urge to overanalyze every detail. Focus on the essential elements that matter most. Identify what action is required, what is within your control, and what can be left aside. The mind has a natural tendency to multiply problems unnecessarily. By cutting through complexity, you train yourself to respond with precision rather than panic, reducing the habit of overthinking. Simplicity is also about creating routines that bring order and predictability to your life. Routines are calming because they provide structure. A simple daily practice, waking up at the same time, exercising, meditating, or reflecting quietly, gives the mind a sense of stability. When the mind knows what to expect, it does not need to generate endless scenarios or worries, and overthinking diminishes naturally. The principle of simplicity extends to speech and communication as well. Speaking less, using fewer words and focusing on what is essential reduces mental strain. Explaining every thought, justifying every feeling, or overanalyzing interactions with others feeds the overthinking habit. By simplifying communication, you simplify the mind, creating calm both internally and externally. Over time, embracing simplicity in thought, environment, routines, and communication creates a profound sense of mental clarity. The mind no longer feels compelled to chase every fleeting idea, worry about every possible outcome, or juggle unnecessary complexities. It learns to rest, focus, and act with intention. A simple life is not a limited life. It is a life of clarity, presence, and control, where the mind is free from the chaos that fuels overthinking, and where calm becomes natural, and enduring. Overthinking often grows when the mind tries to juggle too many things at once. One of the most effective ways to quiet mental chaos is to focus on a single task at a time. Multitasking may seem productive, but in reality it scatters your attention, leaving no space for clarity or calm. The mind is not designed to operate on multiple fronts simultaneously. Each task divided among fragmented attention weakens your ability to think clearly and increases the tendency to worry, imagine, or second-guess. When you concentrate fully on one thing, the mind slows naturally and begins to operate with purpose. Start by choosing what is most important in the moment. Identify the task that truly requires your energy and give it your full attention. Whether it is work, study, a conversation, or even a simple chore, approach it with presence and intention. Avoid letting your mind drift to the next task or worry about what has not yet been done. When the mind focuses fully on the present action, it naturally stops creating unnecessary scenarios and worries. This focused attention is a training ground for reducing overthinking. Distractions are the enemy of focus. Phones, notifications, noise, and interruptions all pull the mind away from the task at hand. Simple adjustments can make a profound difference. Turn off alerts, close unnecessary tabs, and create a quiet environment. Even a few minutes of uninterrupted focus is enough to build momentum. The mind learns that it can complete tasks without becoming anxious or scattered. And with repeated practice, this builds confidence in your ability to remain calm and intentional. Another aspect of focusing on one thing at a time is to prioritize effectively. Not everything on your to-do list is urgent or important. Identify what truly matters in the current moment and let the rest wait. When the mind is freed from the illusion that it must handle everything simultaneously, overthinking diminishes. You begin to recognize that much of the mental chatter is unnecessary, and that calm comes from order, not chaos. The discipline of single tasking also involves patience. Some tasks take time and effort. The mind may urge you to rush, to jump ahead, or to worry about the outcome. Resisting this urge and remaining present teaches resilience and builds a steady mental rhythm. Each completed task, attended to fully and with care, reinforces the habit of focused attention. The mind begins to see that peace arises not from avoiding challenges but from meeting them deliberately, one step at a time. Focusing on one thing also enhances the quality of your work. When the mind is fully engaged, creativity, clarity, and insight emerge naturally. Overthinking often arises when the mind is under pressure to perform perfectly in multiple areas at once. By narrowing attention, you reduce the mental strain, allowing ideas to flow clearly and solutions to appear with ease. The mind experiences satisfaction in action, rather than frustration and endless rumination. This principle extends beyond work or study to all areas of life. In conversations, give full attention to the person speaking. In daily routines, immerse fully in each activity. Even when resting or meditating, focus on the act itself rather than planning or replaying events. Over time, this practice strengthens the mind's ability to stay present and prevents it from spiraling into unnecessary thought loops. By focusing on one thing at a time, you train your mind to act with clarity and intention. Mental energy is no longer wasted chasing multiple threads simultaneously, and the habit of overthinking gradually diminishes. Concentration becomes a natural state, attention is easier to control, and the mind learns that peace and productivity coexist when focus is deliberate and singular. Overthinking often arises from resisting what cannot be controlled. Life is full of uncertainty. Events happen beyond your planning, people behave unpredictably, and outcomes unfold in ways you cannot foresee. The mind naturally struggles against uncertainty, trying to predict, prepare, and protect. When you resist what is unknown, you create tension, worry, and mental chaos. The key to calming an overactive mind is to accept uncertainty as part of life. Peace is found not by controlling everything, but by focusing only on what is within your reach, and letting go of what is not. Start by noticing moments when your mind tries to predict the future or dwell on possibilities. These are the seeds of overthinking. Instead of trying to force certainty where none exists, pause and remind yourself that some things will only become clear in time. The mind is at its calmest when it accepts that not every question has an immediate answer and not every problem requires a solution before it arises. By accepting the limits of your knowledge, you prevent the mind from creating imaginary problems and unnecessary anxiety. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It does not mean ignoring reality or giving up on responsibility. Instead, it means directing energy where it can be effective. Focus on what actions are possible right now, in this moment. You cannot control tomorrow, but you can control what you do today. You cannot control the behavior of others, but you can control your own responses. By shifting attention to what is actionable, the mind becomes productive instead of chaotic. Each deliberate choice reinforces the habit of responding rather than reacting. Uncertainty also teaches patience. Many overthinking patterns arise because the mind wants immediate resolution, instant understanding, or guaranteed results. Accepting that some answers will arrive in time relieves pressure. Life unfolds in its own rhythm, and forcing understanding or outcomes only increases mental agitation. By embracing uncertainty, you give the mind space to rest and the heart space to remain calm. Patience becomes a natural response to the unknown, replacing anxiety with steady composure. Another practice is to remind yourself of past experiences where outcomes were uncertain but eventually resolved. Reflecting on these moments reinforces the understanding that you can handle unpredictability. Life is rarely as chaotic as the mind imagines in advance. The unknown often turns out better or at least differently than feared, and in all cases, you learn and grow. This reflection strengthens resilience and reduces the grip of overthinking when uncertainty arises again. Acceptance of uncertainty also reduces the need for constant control. Overthinking often comes from trying to manipulate every situation, anticipate every problem, or prevent every failure. Recognize that some things are beyond your influence. Letting go of this illusion of control is liberating. The mind no longer feels compelled to generate endless what-ifs or plan for scenarios that may never occur. Peace arises naturally when you stop fighting what cannot be fought. This principle extends to every aspect of life: relationships, work, health, and personal goals. You cannot dictate the actions of others or guarantee specific results, but you can control your effort, your integrity, and your choices. By focusing on these, you maintain agency while releasing unnecessary worry. The mind becomes quieter because it no longer tries to master the uncontrollable. Over time, accepting uncertainty transforms the way you experience life. Situations that once triggered anxiety now meet a mind that remains steady and observant. The habit of overthinking diminishes because you no longer feed it with resistance. Clarity emerges, focus sharpens, and inner peace grows. The mind learns to act intentionally in what it can influence and remain calm in what it cannot, discovering that true control lies not in predicting life, but in mastering the response to it. Overthinking often comes from dwelling on problems rather than reflecting with purpose. There is a difference between rumination, which traps the mind in endless loops, and reflection, which allows insight and learning. Rumination keeps the mind spinning, asking the same questions repeatedly, focusing on mistakes or worries without resolution. Reflection, on the other hand, is calm, deliberate, and intentional. It examines what can be learned, what actions are possible, and what should be released. By practicing reflection instead of rumination, you train the mind to respond wisely rather than react compulsively. Start by setting aside a few moments each day for quiet reflection. This could be in the morning, evening, or any pause in your day. Sit quietly and bring attention to your thoughts. Do not try to stop them, judge them, or solve every problem immediately. Instead, observe what arises, noting patterns, concerns, and ideas. Reflection is about awareness, understanding, and clarity, not about chasing every fleeting worry or imagining every possible outcome. It teaches the mind to examine life calmly and deliberately, without becoming trapped in it. During reflection, focus on what is actionable. Ask yourself, what can I do today to improve this situation? What is within my control? What have I learned from past experiences? The goal is not to fix everything at once or predict the future perfectly, but to take small, deliberate steps toward improvement. Action grounded in reflection prevents the mind from spinning in hypothetical scenarios. The process becomes practical rather than chaotic. Each insight gained is a tool for growth, not a burden for worry. Reflection also involves recognizing impermanence. Thoughts, feelings, and events arise and pass. By observing them without attachment, you learn that no single worry or problem is permanent. The mind often exaggerates challenges, imagining them as bigger or more permanent than they are. Through reflection, you gain perspective, seeing life as a series of moments, each manageable and transient. This understanding reduces the intensity of overthinking and fosters calmness. Journaling can enhance the practice of reflection. Writing down thoughts allows you to see them clearly and evaluate their relevance. It separates observation from emotional reaction, creating space between yourself and the mind's activity. Patterns emerge, lessons become evident, and decisions can be made with more clarity. Over time, journaling strengthens the mind's ability to process experience consciously, reducing the tendency to overthink and increasing mental calm. Reflection also teaches responsibility. When you calmly examine thoughts and actions, you recognize where you have control and where you do not. This awareness shifts energy away from futile worry and toward deliberate action. You learn to act where it matters and to release what is beyond influence. The mind begins to operate efficiently, focusing on meaningful effort instead of scattered concern. Each reflective moment builds resilience, discipline, and inner clarity. Another aspect of reflection is gratitude. While examining challenges or mistakes, also note successes, progress, and positive aspects of life. Gratitude provides balance to reflection, preventing it from turning into criticism or self-reproach. By recognizing what is working well, you train the mind to see life more clearly, appreciating the present while preparing for the future thoughtfully. This balance reduces mental tension and fosters steadiness. Practicing reflection consistently changes the mind's relationship with thoughts. Overthinking loses power, because the mind no longer reacts impulsively to every worry or imagined scenario. Instead, it pauses, observes, and acts with intention. Each reflective moment strengthens the habit of calm, deliberate thinking, teaching the mind to navigate challenges without being overwhelmed. Reflection becomes a tool for clarity, focus, and inner peace. Allowing the mind to move from constant agitation to steady calm. The present moment is the only reality that truly exists. Overthinking happens when the mind drifts to the past or jumps ahead to the future. Thoughts replay old mistakes, dwell on regrets, or imagine countless possible outcomes. Each mental projection pulls attention away from what is real, scattering energy and creating anxiety. Learning to return to the present moment is one of the most powerful ways to calm an overactive mind. The present is sufficient, and when the mind rests in it, clarity and peace naturally follow. Start by observing your surroundings. Notice what you see, hear, and feel right now. The sound of your breath, the temperature of the air, the weight of your body on a chair or the ground. These are anchors to the present. By focusing on what is tangible and immediate, you redirect attention away from hypothetical problems and imagined fears. The mind begins to settle because it is no longer chasing things that do not yet exist or cannot be changed. Engage fully in whatever you are doing, whether it is washing dishes, walking, eating, or working. Immerse yourself completely. Overthinking thrives when the mind is divided, trying to do more than one thing, or anticipating what comes next. Full attention to a single task draws mental energy into the present. Even the simplest activity can become a meditation when approached with presence. The mind becomes quieter because it is no longer scattered, and action becomes deliberate rather than reactive. Breathing is another anchor to the present. When thoughts become overwhelming, shift attention to the rhythm of your breath. Notice the inhale and exhale, the rise and fall of the chest, the sensation of air entering and leaving the body. The present moment is found in the act of breathing. Each breath is a reminder that life unfolds in real time and that the mind does not need to rush ahead. Focused breathing reduces mental chatter and creates a sense of grounded calm. Awareness of the present also involves letting go of attachment to outcomes. The mind tends to overthink when it clings to expectations or fears failure. By accepting what is, rather than constantly trying to control what will be, you free mental energy. The present moment contains everything you need to act wisely. Outcomes are unknown, but your attention, effort, and choices are always available. Peace comes from engaging fully with what is present, without being pulled by what is absent or imagined. Mindfulness of the present extends to thoughts themselves. Observe them as they arise, but do not follow them blindly. Thoughts will come and go, but the present moment remains. By anchoring attention in the now, you prevent the mind from spinning endlessly through regrets or projections. Each time the mind wanders, gently return focus to the present. This repeated practice strengthens the habit of calm awareness, reducing overthinking over time. The present moment also teaches gratitude. Life exists in this very instant, and even amidst challenges, there is something real to appreciate. Noticing small details, a warm sun, a gentle breeze, a sound, or a sensation brings awareness to what is rather than what is missing. Gratitude grounds attention in reality and diminishes mental distraction. It cultivates peace by showing that the present is already sufficient and valuable. Living in the present does not mean ignoring planning or learning from the past. It means understanding that life only happens now, and your power lies in this moment. The mind no longer wastes energy chasing illusions, revisiting old mistakes, or fearing outcomes that may never occur. Calm, clarity, and focus emerge naturally when attention rests in the present, and overthinking diminishes because the mind recognizes that the only place to act, to breathe, and to live is here and now.